Hi guys, welcome back to the Stickman Sessions Podcast. This week's episode welcomes Lee Wylding to the show. He is the lead singer and songwriter for the band the Fireflys. They're an incredible band. I'm a massive fan of their music. They're UK based and they've been making tunes together for well over a decade now. So Lee's personal experience as a songwriter and as a live performer is well worth sticking around for. It was a total joy chatting to him. He's a lovely guy. He's got some great stories to tell and also just some really valuable insight as to how things actually work in the music industry and how things have changed over the years. So we talk everything from best and worst performances to the songwriting process, to his thoughts on contemporary music, on rock, his hopes for the future. I personally really enjoyed this conversation. I found it quite inspiring to be a part of, and I'm just genuinely grateful that Lee was up for having such an in-depth chat, so thank you for that. The Fireflys have got some stunning new music out right now, which you can check out on all platforms or just via the links below the podcast. They've also got a fair few gigs and appearances coming up in the near future, so highly recommended if you're a fan of organic, honest songwriting and just proper folk rock and rock in general. Anyway, I'll let you see for yourselves. There's plenty of great advice to follow, so grab yourself a drink and enjoy. So the Fireflys have been together for ages. I didn't realise quite how long you guys have been together. Was it 2007, your website says?
12 years for our sins, yeah. I basically formed the band over in Vancouver when I used to live out there. So it was just me and an acoustic guitar on my back just playing these shows in West Van. And I came back and I knew a few guys that played drums. I used to be in a band called Warped before the Fireflys. So I knew a few guys that played, so we just started rehearsing in the garage, really. So we weren't a proper band, I'd probably say, till about 2010. But yeah, it does say on the website there 2007. So
the roots, yeah.
Yeah, the roots, yeah, that's exactly what it was, yeah.
That's incredible. So I'll just bring it back to sort of now then. So at the moment, you guys are currently on tour. You're gigging quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, we've just finished the Coffee House Sessions. We finished that on Friday, and we've got quite a lot still to go as well, gig-wise this year. But the tour was really, really good. I think we picked up quite a lot of new fans on that, really, which was really strange because it wasn't just people, for the first time in my life, it wasn't people coming up to us and going, oh, we really enjoyed that. It was people tagging us in their Instagram stories. Yeah, so it was like massively new. So people didn't really come up. So I could figure out who it was by the angle that the video had been shot, which is kind of really strange. So I just
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really good. So there was a few people in a couple of gigs in Bournemouth and a couple in Kiel and Staffordshire and where is it now? London, somewhere in London. So I kind of figured out who they were. So I kind of made a beeline and went over just to say thank you for, adding us on social media. Thank you for tweeting us to your friends and obviously the nice words that they included in the Instagram story. And they were like really kind of taken back that I'd like sought them out and just said like, thank you. And they were like, no, don't apologise. We think you're great, blah, blah, blah. But I do think there's some kind of weird cultural shift to people hiding behind phones quite a lot and doing it all literally not having to speak to the band they've just spoke to. They've just watched, but they'll just do an Instagram story or Twitter.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
well, that was
it's weird.
One of my questions that was going to come up was because you guys have been together for 12 years. What sort of changes have you noticed? Which is exactly that kind of thing that you're talking about, I guess, in the live scene.
Yeah.
That's quite strange. So, what, you found that people were a little bit nervous when you went and talked to them in real life?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people just tend to be hiding behind their like cappuccinos or whatnot. They were just a little bit like, oh my god, he's like standing right there. And I wasn't like me being creepy or anything. It was just kind of like,
no.
I could tell from the angle it was you, and they were like, all right. So it was really nice. It was really, really nice. Like
that's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The reception we've had on the tour has been incredible, really.
So what is the Coffee House Sessions then, just for anyone that doesn't know about it?
Yeah, I think it's a platform, I think that Hugh Stevens set up in 2012, I think, or 2013 with Radio 1. Yeah. And just basically a platform for acoustic guitarists or stripped down bands just to go from university to university over the course of 2 weeks, but 19 gigs, because it's 2 gigs a day, most of them. So just to get I'm knackered. just to get your music out there and kind of play to a whole new audience that isn't people that's drunk. So it's I think Warner Brothers use it and Sony. A lot of the record labels use it, and they just promote via that, really, which is really different and really, really strange. It's a lot of fun, but normally, like, it's our like maybe fourth tour that I've done, like being in the Fireflys. So I think we toured in 2014, 2012, and I did quite a lot on my own back in the late noughties. And so doing 2 gigs a day was like really something else. Like to get
full
to the
on,
venue, it really was, yeah. To, like, get to the venue at 12 to do a show, and then like half an hour, 40 minutes, then pack up and then be over the other side of London in an hour and a half. Just, it was mind blowing, really. It was really took out of us all. It sounds lame, but it was really nice.
No, I can imagine. It's especially when it's your own songs and it's all quite emotional, and that's quite exhausting sometimes as well itself.
Because with us, as you know, we don't just go on stage and go, we're the Fireflys and just kind of go through the motions. For me, and particularly, I'm singing these songs that I've written and I believe in, and I've got some weight to, so I always kind of put in a massive performance every time.
Yeah, that's amazing. It sounds like a good experience then. How do you feel about it? Are you kind of slightly glad that it's done, but you've found it really rewarding and it's been worth it?
It was massively rewarding, and we got to know Spike really well, our new bassist, so that was really nice. And then we really missed President Street, the band we were on with. Like, we met them like every day. We saw their set, twice a day, and we hung with them at night and stuff, and in the hotels, and they were really, really nice. Like Pete, Gavin, Ruby are just 3 of the nicest people I've ever met. And if we'd have been on that tour with someone else, like, who knows how it would have gone? Like maybe some 18-year-old singer-songwriter, maybe we would have had something in common. I don't know. But because they were slightly older as well, like 30s and 40s, we had kind of more in common, because obviously I'm a little bit older, But yeah, I kind of miss it a little bit. I miss those guys, and I miss the camaraderie and the, just rocking up. And it was kind of like a flash gig where people would just be there eating their tea or something, and we'd rock up with like 5 or 6 of our songs, and like people would just be like, "What is this?" No, not in a negative way, obviously.
No, it sounds brilliant. Yeah, I love that at lunchtime. That'd be really good. So was it unplugged then all the time?
Yeah, well, we were DI'd, so we went through the PA system. But yeah, it was. Right. Andy was on a Cajon, so it was the first time that she had kind of migrated away from the drums just to use the black box thing. So she was like not in her comfort zone at all. So we did like a little pre-tour show as well in our hometown of Runcorn, and she was on the Cajon there, just saying, I don't know if I can commit to like 19 gigs of this, but ultimately she kind of took to it and really enjoyed it, so that was really something. And then Joe and Spike were just doing acoustic guitar, but I was just singing and playing harmonica for maybe the first 7 gigs, but found it really kind of fish out of water. I just couldn't seem to get used to not playing lead guitar or not playing my guitar. So I luckily had my guitar with me, my acoustic. So I think it was around the time we went to maybe Bath or Bristol. So when we got to Bristol University, I was like, I'm playing my guitar. So I just strapped my acoustic on and was playing like all my solos and stuff. I just thought I'd be a little bit more laid back, but I need the guitar as a crutch, I think. I felt really awkward and really kind of like, when there was a guitar break or when I wasn't
exposed.
Yeah, massively exposed. I didn't know what to do. I was kind of fiddling with the mic stand, and then there was like looking around at the band and thinking, this is massively alien to me, this, and I didn't enjoy that part at all. So as soon as I got my guitar on, I was me again. I could be exactly what I always intended it to be.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, actually. So you just managed to sort of tweak things as you went along, and
yeah, it was definitely ad hoc. Yeah, we just as we went along, we thought, well, that works, this works, that doesn't. I think we had 8 songs, so I think like Grace and Runaway and This House Is Ours were definitely going to be in the set every day. And then we were kind of like a carousel where which featured Branches, I think, Release Repeat. There was Talking to the Satellite. We kind of did an acoustic version of that. So yeah, there was a couple more. I can't remember, but we did about, I think there's about 8 to choose from. So we did about 4 or 5 in every set.
Okay, so it wasn't exactly the same thing every time you were jumping up on stage. It sounds really good. Really nice experience. How did you get involved with that? Were you selected for it, or did you apply for it? Or?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of both, I think, because I know that a lot of bands apply for it every year. So we applied for it back in, I think it was October. And now, if we'd have applied for it like maybe 2 years ago, I don't think we'd have had, a chance in hell, really. But they got back to us and just said, this is really, this music's really cool, and we think it lends itself to like an acoustic thing. So we applied for it, and they chose us. So we were very lucky, very grateful, really, that that they decided to put their faith in us. And obviously, President Street, the other band from Melbourne, we had a lovely time. It was great.
Oh, good. No, that's really good. I think it's your kind of sound just is one you do stand out as a band that would work in either setting, like whether it's just you and your guitar or it's the whole full throttle, a little bit of distortion and stuff, which is a nice quality to have. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get that with every band. I think because I write all the songs on an acoustic guitar, I think that kind of always leads to us to either interpreting them as like full on, band songs or acoustic, like you say. Yeah.
You've got a new bassist, but how long has the rest of the lineup been together currently? Then, as it stands at the moment.
As it stands, yeah. I think. Well, obviously I've been in since day dot, but Andy joined in 2010. I think she joined as our drummer, and then Joe came on board about 2 years ago, and Spike, who's Joe's brother, came on board maybe 2 months. The first gig Spike did was Old Trafford, live on MUTV for Paddy Crowin's 80th. So that was kind of like the barometer for what it was going to be like, because he's 19 and he just came into the band. I think he was playing covers or whatnot with like a band in Runcorn and not really getting anywhere. So he joined our band, and he's full of, there's Man United players all around him, and everything's live on MUTV, and we're at Old Trafford. So it was like absolutely crazy. So that was in February. And then obviously we headed out on tour on the 18th of March. So for Spike, it's been a baptism of fire, I think. But our bands like The Fall or The Cure, there's no set kind of. We're not like U2 or Aerosmith or Radiohead, where it's just the same core members. I think we counted 18 people have come and gone, and I think because I'm not focused for success or focused for like fame or anything like that, anything crazy. I just want to keep writing songs and releasing music. That's what I want to keep doing. So people get on board with it for a little while, and then they have, when I started the band, I was like 28, 27. Yeah, I was 27. Yeah. So obviously the other guys that were in the band, when I came back from Vancouver, were like around that age, like 29, whatever. So as the band kind of progressed, people were getting married and having kids, and just not having time for it anymore. So as I've been the only consistent member of the band, the only constant, apart from Andrea, who obviously joined nearly a decade ago, I think other people have just kind of like peeled away. But there's never been any bad blood or anything. It's never been like, well, I want you to, I'm going to leave the band and this is that. And there's never been anything like that. It's just been like friends, like, because obviously band members become friends, they're like family. So ultimately, they've just said, I can't do all these gigs, or I can't do the tour, or
circumstances have changed and stuff.
Always, that's all it is. So even everyone that has been in the band, they always like the posts on social media, and like our original bassist Johnny C turned up at one of the shows as well on the tour, which was really nice. So, and he was giving some advice to Spike as well, because it was just nice. I mean, we're that kind of band though. We don't say anything negative on social media, or we don't ever. Our music is a message of like, I don't know, I guess it's love kind of conquers all, or unrequited love, or stuff like that, or just hang in there, it'll be okay. That's kind of like our message.
Just positivity,
and light. It's never been like a political thing, and it's never been kind of sniping at someone. There's no revenge songs or anything. I think life's too short, really.
No, that's why you've been able to carry on for so long and keep writing such good songs, I guess.
Thank you.
How would you say that like your approach to writing songs has changed in the time that you've been making music as the Fireflys then?
I think when I first formed the band in Canada, I was heavily influenced, I still am in a way, by City and Colour, Dallas Green.
Yeah.
He was in Alexis on Fire, then kind of branched out, and he's still in the band to an extent. He keeps coming back. And his first two albums, Sometimes and Bring Me Your Love, was so incredible. They were such incredible albums that they stopped me in my tracks. I've not heard anything that good acoustically since maybe Harvest or After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. So for me, I kind of wanted to adopt everything's written on acoustic guitar, and then everyone in the band can add something to it, so it becomes like a synergy, a melting pot, and it evolves into ultimately what it is. But at first, the first album was pretty much a rock album, like Better to Burn Out. It's 10 years old this year in December, and which is crazy when I think about it. I mean, you say it got to number one on Amazon like a year after it came out because we just kept touring and doing shows. But that was just written really, really quickly, recorded really, really quickly. I think we did it in like 5 days. Like pretty much, there was not many overdubs, there's no backing vocals on it, so it was just everything up to 10. Let's just rock out and see what happens. So I guess my songwriting approach was just, I knew, even though it was on the acoustic guitar, I knew it would be getting drenched in distortion, so I wasn't too bad about the fine tuning. So Cathedral for Ashes, I started to write. I mean, that's when I wrote Jenny Play Your Guitar and a Bottle Top and an Easel, some of the tracks that become well known within our fan base live. And I started to kind of reach for the stars a little bit and think, well, maybe I can reach a level of maturity. And I think I've carried that through. I think Embers of the Autumn was good for us. That was our first play on like Radio 6 music. And that was, we got some people behind us from the Hummingbird single. And then I think The Illumination of Everything had branches on it, and that's when Manchester United started playing it at Old Trafford. That's when we got introduced to MUTV, and they absolutely loved it. And then through the three singles we've had out for this album, Grace, Runaway, and This House Is Ours, I think the songwriting has changed because I've maybe cognitively thought I could write something that sounded a bit like Bruce Springsteen, a bit Heartland rock, a little bit not Americana per se, but I didn't want to play up to that trope, but I just wanted it to kind of organically be what it was, even though I set out to write this kind of song. It sounds like I'm just being hyperly critical, I guess, but the songwriting, it was really, really easy for this album. It just came out massively easy. Every track followed the other track. And once, I think the first track I wrote was My Heart Live, which is the last track on the album. Yeah. And I wrote that in about 2014. And we kicked about in the studio and we could never get it right. So I think it was the week before Christmas, just gone. We got into my front room and we just did it live. There's no backing vocals, there's no other guitar tracks, just me and Joe and Chris, who's our keyboard player. He produces all our music, he's got his own studio. So he was sat on my couch with the mics, and we recorded that track, just live as was.
And that's the version that's gone on the album?
And that's the version that's on the album, yeah. And I actually videoed it on my iPad. It's just me, so it's just me singing it, and Joe's in the background. And I've actually got the video, so it's like 3 minutes 20, however long the song is. I've got I've got the video for that of just me sitting in my front room singing it with Joe. So,
that's really cool.
Yeah, I might release it. I don't know, once the album.
It'll be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to hold on to at least anyway. For you guys in the future. That's awesome. So you've always just kind of gone with the flow then. Have you ever, are there songs that you write that don't see the light of day or that you don't share? Or
there's quite a few, I think. When we did what's the new album? What's the new album called? Oh, There's Northern Lights. Crikey. When I wrote that, there was like 20 songs, and we went to we hired like a massive mansion halfway up the Orme in Llandudno. So we recorded it there, and that's why in This House Is Ours it says I see the cliffs of the Orme, because obviously when I sang the vocals, all I could see was this massive bay window, and it was the Orme there. So we had loads of songs, and I think 10 of them didn't make it. So there's a rock version of Branches, which is going to be a pre-order bonus. And then there's going to be there's a new version of Talking to the Satellite, which is massively Pearl Jam. It's so good, but it doesn't fit on the album. So that's going to be maybe another pre-order bonus or a B-side or something. So we recorded 12, kept 10, and I think we kicked about with another 7 or 8, just kind of jamming them and seeing what we could come up with. But the vibe wasn't right really, because I think Grace had already been recorded somewhere else. And then I think we'd already done Runaway at Chris's studio in the Wirral, so we knew how it was starting to sound. So by the time we got to Wales, we kind of knew we'd have this Heartland rock kind of sound that we wanted to kind of play up to. So that's kind of how. So I think there's about 7 or 8 that didn't make it in the end, I think.
So you generally just go with the way that it feels, because like you say, you tried to record that song ages ago and it never worked, and then you just sat down in your living room one day and it worked for whatever reason. It's just a chemistry thing, maybe then, or I don't know, an emotional. I don't know. That's interesting.
It was it's weird. It was something we tried it, and I don't know what it was. It just didn't come out right. It just wasn't. we did click tracks, and we had like a drum track with it, and there was a little bit of bass, and at one point we had a violin player, and it was all good, and it was all great, and we were like, yeah. I mean, I've got a demo of it somewhere where I did it in another studio, so I'll send that over at some point, see what you think. But it was,
for sure.
Yeah, but the synergy, like I say, it's something in the air. I don't know. We got here and we were just chatting just before Christmas, just having a bit of a pizza and beer night, and then Joe's like, "Well, should we get the guitars out?" And we're like, "Okay." So Chris goes, "Well, I've got a few mics and I've got my laptop in the car. So what do you think?" And it was quite early. It was like 6 o'clock at night on like a Monday night or something. We were like, okay.
Yeah.
So he said, "What have we got?" And I said, "Well, I've got this one." So, and they'd all heard it because we jammed it like a million times. And I had never done that. I'd never done that riff. It didn't exist. So as soon as I did that riff out of nowhere, Joe just started strumming C and E minor with the capo on fret. I think it's fret 2. And then it just happened. So we kind of jammed it. And we're like, we should record this. So then we were like, okay, let's go through it again and let's just see what we can do. So Chris pressed record this time, and we were still messing around a little bit, but that was the take that was. Like, we expected to do maybe 3 or 4 more, but that's what it was, And
but
it worked. Yeah, exactly. We listened back to it and we're like, that is a great take. So that's it's madness, and we don't normally do that. I'm normally like, that's absolutely rubbish. So that needs to be done again. It's always me. It's like my worst. My most self-deprecating.
Yeah.
And that was, it just seemed to work. So that's why I put in brackets on the back of the album cover, live, just so people who are aware that it is a magical moment. It wasn't like a million overdubs, because some of the tracks on there, like These Cities, These Colours, it's that, I did like a million guitar solos before I got the right one. It's madness. But my heart was completely different. So it was it was really refreshing for the last track to go on the album a year and a half after we'd recorded all the other stuff, almost 2 years after Grace. And we'd done it that way, which was really nice.
Just to capture it in that way. Yeah, that's amazing, really. I wonder if there's such a thing then as just overdoing it. If you keep trying to record the same song and then you just end up not hating it, but resenting it a little bit, wanting to step away from it.
Well, there definitely is. We tried that with the last album. I can't remember what song it was, but we just didn't seem to get it right, and we did it. I think it was Tides. Like, it's one of my favourite tracks, that Tides Little Love, and it was really good. And because it sounds so much like the Chili Peppers, I think I'd consciously tried to not sound like Anthony when I was singing it, but I kept doing the pronunciation, like the way maybe he'd use a lisp at the end of each, and I kept doing it and it was like winding me. So in the end, I just kind of put the actual vocal that was on it down, but it was a really slapdash kind of vocal. And whenever, I don't really listen to our stuff too much, but whenever I listen to it now, I just think, I could have done a better job of that, really.
Yeah, that's just you though, isn't it? Because I think if you ask people that listen to your music, you guys have definitely got your own sound, and you've got your own, there's a obviously you've got your influences and stuff, but there's definitely a Firefly. You can detect that it's you guys, I think, even through different songs, which is really, again, another really nice quality to have.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Do you ever disagree as a band, like creatively, or on what's going on?
Yeah, we do. We did on this album. Just like I've always wrote the songs, you see, and no one's ever come up against me and said, I'd like to write the songs. No one else has ever said that, so I've just kind of done it, and I always write them from like a painful, like marry a painful lyric with the uplifting music behind it, so it kind of fools people into thinking it's nice music, but really it's quite melancholy. So we had a few chats, and a few other members of the band were like, well, I want to do this and I want to write some lyrics, and I was like, well, you can't write lyrics because I've got to sing them and I've got to mean them, and that's how it's always been. So I would like to say there's been some compromise, but to be fair, with the revolving door policy of people coming in the band for a year then leaving, I thought, well, I want to make the album that I want to make, and I want it to stand the test of time with this new one. I didn't want, I wanted everyone's input, but I didn't really want it in a way that they kind of changed it, or it was something that I'd look back in a year and go, well, I wish I hadn't backed down about that, because I've done that. I've yielded for like 4 albums. So on this one, I was like, if you're not interested, there's the door, to be quite frank. But that didn't happen. It wasn't that as well. It was me being silly. I was like, whatever. I wasn't being like a dictator or anything. But I was just saying that these songs, we've all chose these 10 songs. I mean, everyone puts their input in, and everyone enjoys what they do. You know,
Yeah,
and I
sure.
don't really get involved with it. I don't say, oh, change that bit to this bit or that. That doesn't bother me. It's great. But when people say they want to start writing the lyrics, maybe, or they just want to write a song of their own and have no input from me as a writer, well, I find that a bit of an insult, because I've carried the band with my songs for 12, 13 years. So for someone to come into the band and all of a sudden start saying, well, this is how it should be, it
might become something different then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Would it be different if they wanted to sing it, or is it just exclusively that you would sing it as well?
Well, I mean, we had the version of Branches with a singer on it, Adele. She was our ex kind of co-singer with me, so there is a version with just her singing that song. And to be fair, I mean, if someone came in and wanted to kind of duet, or they wanted just to sing one of the tracks, we'd just see how it went. To be honest with you, I don't think I'd say no, because I mean, I'm a guitarist first and foremost, really. You know, my passion's playing the guitar, and I just sing in this band because there was no other singers. You know, there was no one else. I don't particularly think I've got a good voice or anything, so I just do it because I don't want someone to shaft me. I don't want someone to be in the band and be the singer for 10 years, then they leave, and then we haven't got a singer.
You're stuck, yeah.
You get stuck. So that's why I play the lead guitar. I sing and write all the music, because as long as I'm drawing breath, the Fireflys will always keep going. And that's just my philosophy on it, really.
So do you guys have like a manager or a publisher or anything, or is it all very DIY, the way that you book your tours and things like that and record?
Yeah, we've got publishing. Yeah, we've got a publishing deal and whatnot. That's cool. But we don't have a manager. I don't know why. I mean, things have only just started to kind of happen for us with like the tour and all the Manchester United things, and obviously the beer and all the a lot more interest than there's ever been really at this point in time.
So it's kind of snowballed in the last year or so.
Yeah, definitely. The last 12 months has been insane. So, you know, I think we're on the cusp of something happening. I don't think we'll ever be mainstream at all. I always think we'll be like a band that our fans have heard of, and a lot of people have heard of because they like us, not because they've heard it on Wire FM or anything like that. Or incidentally, we were played on Wire FM last year, so I can't really say that. But yeah.
Oh, the mainstream's changing completely anyway. Like, it's a whole different world now, isn't it? There's bands that are on different tiers and they're doing fine. So yeah, it's a really good direction that you guys are going in.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think I'd want to be mainstream. I listen, we have the top 40 on sometimes when we're out and about. When I happen to hear it when I'm in a cafe or something, and it's just abhorrent. It really is abhorrent. But I just don't. There's no fingerprints on it. You know what I mean? There's no raw kind of music. It's all so perfect and poppy and great, which is fine, and that's wonderful. But I could, you know, when I came of age, it was like the summer of Britpop. So, you know, there was no. I mean, there was dance tracks, but mainly it was. Primarily guitar bands, you know, people actually playing their craft,
Yeah, it seems to be very much as well, like if I don't listen to Radio 1 for a year, it still sounds the same. The songs still seem the same, like that, you know, that much time passes between. It's crazy.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I think I listened to Radio 1 accidentally when it was on in one of my friend's cars. And I've not heard it since 1999. I mean, I kind of bowed out when I was like 22 or whatever. So I listen to it now and I'm thinking, is that the same track it was on in 2000? Is that the same terrible dance song that I listened to? And it's so it's so poppy now and sheened. It's so pristine and perfect. You know, it's just. I don't know. I don't know how people.
Well, it's formulaic, isn't it? They know what's going to sell, so.
Yeah, it is exactly formulaic. Yeah, it plays to a trope of, you know, these people really enjoy, and people buy it in their droves. You know, people download it and stream it in their millions. They're absolute millions. Like, I can't get on board with any of it really, but that's just me. But who cares what I've got to say? So.
No, I totally agree, but I think that's why people like music like the Fireflys as well, is because you're, like you said earlier, you're not really bothered about going mainstream. That's not really not the intention, and so the songs that you write just are a bit more real. You know, you're not trying to sell records, so you can hear that it sounds different. It means something slightly different.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It's definitely the kind of band that appeals to me anyway. When it's a little bit more authentic. Yeah. So you guys have played quite a lot of gigs. Well, obviously this year you have, but in general you've played a lot. What's been one of your most memorable live show experiences as a band?
quite a few, really. Anytime we've been asked to play it for Manchester United, when we go to Old Trafford and they film it and it's for the players or it's one of their shows, that always means a lot to me. When I'm kind of mingling with the likes of David May or Dennis Irwin or Wes Brown, or I'm just like, how did it get to this? You know, it's incredible. I mean, we did a duet with Rowetta from the Happy Mondays. We did the Man United gig, and she was sat there, and we were singing Happy Birthday to Paddy Crerand. It was his 80th. Obviously, Paddy Crerand being one of George Best's former teammates. And as we were singing Happy Birthday, I kind of motioned to Rowetta to come up. So she sang it with me. So I'm there duetting at Manchester United, a Manchester United live on MTV thing with Rowetta. So
spontaneously as well.
yeah, exactly, absolutely crackers. And then I think a couple of years ago, the boxer Kieran Farrell invited us to open for him at Middleton Arena. So that was a big show. That was really, really nice. God, there's been so many great shows. Whenever we play, we supported Ocean Colour Scene in the O2s. They were great shows. We played an after show party for Noel Gallagher, which the DJ was Paul Gallagher, his brother. That was really cool. I think there was a few members of the Coral that were there that night. We just played so many shows over the last 12 years. But some are good, some are bad. But the ones that stick out are always the ones that are quite local to us, Liverpool or Manchester. And if
like
Manchester
homecoming gigs
involved,
type.
Homecoming gigs. Or when we play the Brindley Theatre, there's like a 400 cap theatre in our hometown, and we've sold it out like 7 or 8 times now. So it's great. But we've not played there for about 2 years because I just thought, well, what's the point? You know, I'd rather just play somewhere else. Like the pre-tour party. We was at Society, and that's the place that's the brewery that makes our beer. So, and you couldn't squeeze a microbe in there. You couldn't. It only holds like maybe 40 people, but everyone had just come to see us, and it was this gig on this Thursday night, and it was incredible, and that was quite exciting. But I think the theatre shows, we played like Blackburn, is it King George's Theatre or whatever? We've played so many venues in the UK, so many venues, but I always like local, like Northwest, if I'm honest.
Yeah. What, because you get a certain like welcoming vibe from it, or just...
No, just close to home. Just close to home.
It's just because it's easier.
Yeah, it's just easier. Within an hour, I'm in my slippers having a cup of tea, so watching the telly. So
there you go. Sounds good.
Exactly. I joke really, but yeah, I do like those. I do like the shows that are near here.
Yeah. Have you ever struggled with performance anxiety, or has that never been an issue for you?
No, I don't know. A lot of people say that if you don't get nerves, you're doing it wrong, but I absolutely don't. Even when we've played live on TV, it's never really bothered me.
No, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. I think some people definitely thrive in a live setting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I for me, it's like I don't get any anxiety or nerves. But I must say, as I mentioned earlier, when we did the gigs for Coffee House, and I did the first maybe 6 or 7, and the pre-show gig without my guitar, just harmonica and singing, I felt really kind of anxious and fish out of water. It was horrible. I felt really horrible. Okay, and that kind of was like, I think that kicked off an anxiety I didn't know I had. I was like, I can't do this. I can't stand at the front and just be me with people looking at me. When I'm just using, without the guitar, I couldn't do it. It was, I don't know how. I mean, Freddie Mercury, the greatest of all time, and the likes of James Brown and all those guys that were just incredible frontmen, and Anthony Kiedis, Liam Gallagher, the guys that don't play guitar, they just literally are a voice on stage. How they do that, I'll never know. I'm more of a Mark Knopfler, kind of thing, Johnny Marr. I just like to hide behind the guitar. I just being a front.
That's interesting though, but that it takes away all of your anxiety the second you've got your guitar. Perhaps
it's weird. Really strange, but I don't know what it's definitely a crutch. I don't know. It is strange. That's the thing. No, it's just a bit of wood, but definitely how I feel. Yeah.
No, I definitely understand that. Is there any chance you can remember like what the first time you ever performed and where it was and like how you felt when you did that?
Yeah, we played in a band called Warped and we were signed actually. We got signed to Matchbox Recordings in 1996. So during Britpop, we did a couple of shows with some like Britpop bands like the Blue Tones and the Dodgy, a few of those things.
Oh, no way.
Cool. Yes, it was really cool. So we did. So that was like when I was like 17, 18 when we first got signed, and it was just 3 of us, and we did a gig at the Red Admiral pub in Runcorn, and it was absolutely rammed. There was so many people in there to see us because we'd just been signed, and it was great. And I remember I wasn't that great a guitarist, and our bassist, my best friend Quinn, who's still my best friend to this day, he was the singer, so I was just playing guitar, and I wrote the songs, and he was singing them, and our friend Matt was the drummer. And I remember thinking this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. But coincidentally, we had a Warped reunion at Society in Runcorn in December. So the first time I'd seen those guys in like 22 years. And we all met up, and I'd not seen Matt, the drummer, since like 1997 or something, 98. I'd not seen Quinn for a little while. He was in London. And then Joe, our ex-keyboard player, I'd not seen him for like maybe 5 or 6 years. So we had this like Warped reunion as we were drinking Fireflys beer. Really strange.
That's really cool. Did you have a jam, or was it just a hangout?
No, it was just a social hangout. Yeah, but we have said that we'll start doing some of the old songs, which is crazy to think that, like, you know, I'm 39, and to think that, you know, that I'd still be in contact with the Warped guys from 1995 is wild. It's absolutely wild. But it's great though. It's a good life, you know.
Yeah, no, that's really nice. It seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? But it's obviously, it speaks volumes for keeping things, you know, nice and holding on to your friends, you know, not falling out over silly things when you're in a band.
Exactly. Life's way too short, you know. I think there was a falling out back in the 90s, and then the drummer got back in touch with me like maybe a year ago and was like, I was really churlish and really silly. I'm really sorry. And I said, yeah, me too. But we were like, he was younger than me, so I was like 19 and he was like 15 or 16 or something. And
you were just kids then.
Exactly. That's it. You see, and he moved away to be a vet, Matt, and he's you know, I've kept in contact with him for like a year solid now, and I met him in at Christmas, and it's just wonderful to see him again. And you know, it was like no time had passed. It's like we were all kind of like 16, 17, 18 again. We just felt like, you know, it was nice to be in the company of these people that meant so much to me, you know, back in the mid 90s when I was young. That's
lovely. That's really nice to hear. Have you, so sort of the flip side of what I asked earlier, have you ever had any terrible live show experiences? Like, does anything come to mind?
Oh, hundreds, yeah. We played we played the Ruby Lounge in Manchester last year, supporting like an Oasis tribute band called No Oasis, and they were great. They were really nice guys. They were like teachers and like scientists and stuff. They weren't like anything like rock and roll stars or nothing. It was really cool. Anyway, the place it's got an 800 cap, I think, so there was like 800 people in there, absolutely frothing to listen to, you know, covers of Oasis. So we were supporting them, and the second we came out, and I think we went in, we just recorded Grace, so Grace was like the newest song. So I went bang, string goes. I was like, right, okay, lost a string. That's not a problem. So I'll fight through this song until I can get my other guitar. Then some guy at the front puts his beer down on the front of the stage. He's against the cross barrier, so he puts his beer down on the front of the stage, then knocks his pint all over my effects pedals. So they just kind of shorted out completely. And for some crazy reason, Chris's keyboard just blew, like smoke coming out of it. So he's got it on the side and he's kind of tapping it to cool it down. It was awful. And the worst thing as well, like being in front of like 800 people that are rabid to hear Oasis covers, and when you're just losing your mind and it's all going terribly. So that was a really, really horrible experience. But there's too many to mention. I mean, say if you did 200 gigs in a year, like maybe 150 of those are going to be pretty great, and the other 50 are going to be awful. It's just going to
really that many.
Yeah. If it's like a crappy sound guy, or it like someone.
There's a ton of things that can go wrong in there.
Oh, so much, yeah. So I mean, I'm probably being a bit too generous, really. I'd probably say 50 shows are really, really, really good. 100 are just like, they're okay, and then the 50 are. I think that's the best that's the best barometer, I think. Like the lightning in a bottle shows. I mean, we maybe had one on that tour, maybe the one in Bristol, you know, maybe the one in Bath or Oxford, you know, maybe they were really, really good shows that we did on the Coffee House tour. The others were just, they were good shows, and some of them not so good. But maybe out of 19 gigs, maybe 3 of them were great.
Right.
It's weird. Yeah.
What do you think keeps you doing it then? Keeps you going when the odds are against you, kind of thing?
I have no idea. I think it's just bred. I think I don't know. I just like you kind of look out to the crowd and think, this is going really bad, or you get paid at the end of the night or something. I don't know, but
I guess. Do you ever regret playing though, or do you always like, well, at least we did a show, even if it's not been a great one?
Yeah, I regretted that Manchester one. That was pretty rough, but some of my friends had come to see us, so I'd maybe out of 800 people, there was maybe 60 people that had come to see us. So I was kind of looking, because it's such a dense crowd in the Ruby Lounge. Like everyone is right there on top of you. So I was kind of picking my little friends' faces out and going, right, okay. So there's always an element of, well, we played that for a reason. But but sometimes when everything's gone wrong, you just wish the ground would swallow you up, kind of thing.
Yeah. No flipping it. Did you make it through the rest of the gig then after the kit broke, or did you?
Well, we did. I think we did Grace, and I think we did Jenny and Satellite maybe. So I think we were contractually supposed to play for 45 minutes, and I think we played for like 20 because we
just kept it short.
Yeah, so I started like a mass sing along, which is very un-me. I wouldn't do something like this. So because we were in Manchester, and it was like an Oasis type crowd, I just started just singing Sally Cinnamon by the Stone Roses at the mic. So everyone joined in and was having a good time. So once we'd done that, I then went into There Is a Light That Never Goes Out by the Smiths, and everyone just sang along, and everyone's having this massive kind of karaoke experience at my behest. So it was...
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Exactly, yeah. People were drunk and they were enjoying it. So, and then I think we squeezed a song out, and then something went wrong, so we started another sing-along, and then we squeezed another song out, and then we ended up going. But we got a couple of... people always will, more often than not, go on to... Facebook or Instagram or Twitter the day after and go, hey, saw you guys last night, blah, blah, blah. It never tends to be negative. So it's always worth doing it, really, kind of like soldiering on till the end or whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it sounds like, it's impressive how you dealt with that. That sounds quite like a front person thing, which you said you didn't really think of yourself as that, but
yeah, definitely not.
It sounds like it turned out well in the end.
Yeah, it was okay.
Have you, so that was one of the more difficult experiences that you've had as a live band then. Have you noticed any major... So you started... Was it Vancouver you said you started?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is there a massive difference between like playing shows there and playing in the UK?
I think in Canada, and you rock up into like Frankie G's or like River's Reach or something like these little acoustic... Well, not acoustic, but little bars. Like it's a different culture. I think if you're on a night out and you're having a few brews with your mates in Canada, and someone rocks up on a stool in the corner with an acoustic guitar, I don't know why, but people are more inclined to listen to it. Really strange. But in the UK, I don't know if it's like a flash gig and it's ad hoc and people aren't expecting it.
You might get tutted.
Yeah, a little bit like, well, I'm trying to do a crossword here. What are you doing singing your heartfelt songs for free in the middle of a pub? You know what I mean?
It's hit and miss.
Exactly, yeah. But in Canada, I always found the reception to be great. It's always better. I think if you're British and you're playing somewhere else, or if you're Canadian and you're playing here, or American and playing here, or Australia, I think audiences seem to be a little bit more receptive to something that's not
local.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's got a bit of mystery about them or something.
Definitely, yeah. There's something. Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting. Yeah. Have you got any plans to tour outside of the UK, or are you sticking with things here for the time being?
We'd absolutely love to. If the chance comes and we get an offer or a booking agent, gets in contact and wants to do a few shows abroad, then we'll always do it. I don't think at this juncture we'd ever turn anything down. It's it's incredible how it's kind of snowballed. But for now, we're just kind of playing anywhere in the UK that'll have us. But we'll just see where it goes. But yeah, never say never. I would love to tour abroad more.
Yeah, for sure. So you said, are you still working as well as being in the band? Is that true of everyone that's in the band, or?
Yeah, we all work together. We work at the same company. So that's
cool.
Yeah, we all work at the same place. So that's really cool. So that's nice, and I really, really love my job, which is something I probably wouldn't have said about 6 months ago in a previous job. But I
took on something new.
So everyone really enjoys their work, and it's great. And the people we work for are massively into the band. Obviously, both their sons are in the band, so that's great.
Perfect.
So Spike and Joe's dad mum and dad. So we're just really fortunate to have a boss who understands what it's like to be in a band and to kind of go for it. But we're not in a position, financially to leave the band to leave work to go full time. And I don't know many bands that are. I mean, I think the Slow Readers Club all still work. I think I'm pretty sure that bands that are way bigger than us, still work and do all that kind of thing. So it's just a sign of the times. I think if this was the 90s, then it'd be different. I think we'd be, I don't think we'd have to work, but there's mortgages, there's bills to be paid. So it's and that kind of makes it more like, I think our fans know that, and I think they appreciate how much the band is a labour of love for us. Do you know what I mean? I think we do this because we really, really want to do this. It's not because contractually we're obliged to do 5 albums or whatnot, and we're just churning it out. It's a real labour of love. Every note is well thought out, and I think that's why, really.
No, absolutely. It's a genuine passion for you, and you can hear that in your songs. And I imagine you can hear it at your live shows. I've not had a chance to get to a gig yet, but
so you should have come to the Bristol one. You see, yeah. So.
I know. Are you coming back? You're not coming down to Cardiff at any point?
No, we did play Cardiff actually. We played a place called the Bull Bar or the Bull something, and we supported Yanto Jones from Doctor Who. I can't remember. Gareth David Lloyd. He was one of the leads in Torchwood and Doctor Who. He had a band called Blue Gillespie. I can't believe I'm just recounting this on the top of my head. And Buffalo Bar it was called. The Buffalo Bar in Cardiff. Buffalo Bar. Yeah, and we played there. We did a few shows on a Friday, Saturday night in 2012, and that was ace. That was a great night. The crowd was really great. So I think we've only played Wales maybe 4 or 5 times. We've played shows in Wales. I think, Cardiff. I think we did something in Prestatyn. No.
No.
And obviously,
to be honest,
we made the album in Llandudno as well. So.
Oh yeah, you said that earlier. Yeah. No, I'll catch you at some point because I'm actually from Manchester, so we're constantly back up in the north anyway.
I thought you were from Bristol. I don't know why. I've got Bristol in my head. I don't know why that is.
I lived in Bristol for a long time before we moved to Wales.
Okay. So you live in Wales now, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I live in
part of the country. Beautiful place.
It is nice, yeah. Right, I'll just ask a couple more if that's all right. If you've still got a few minutes, you are up for time?
It's absolutely fine. Yeah, of course it is.
Awesome. So what are your hopes going forwards with the band then, and what are sort of the main things that you're looking to kind of achieve throughout the rest of the year?
Yeah, I hope that Only Us Northern Lights connects with people. I really, really hope that people, get out of it what we kind of put into it, just that, recognising that these songs were so heartfelt and they mean everything, and we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, really. We're not trying to move it forward, sonically or anything like that. I just really, really want this album to connect with more people than we have in the past. So that's, that's kind of the main focus of the rest of the year. We've got some more shows coming up, and I think because Spike's not on the album, he's just joined the band. We're going to maybe get into the studio in the summer because I've got quite a few songs written already. So maybe give Spike a chance to record with the band and kind of see what, how it all fits in there. So that's definitely something. But just kind of keep it together and just hopefully pick up some more fans and people that care. Really, that's all we kind of want to do.
You're just going to go with the flow then, and
yeah, I think so. We're all pretty chill people, to be fair, as well. We're not like, I'm focused and driven, and I really want the band to be a success, overall. But of course, I'm not going to kill myself doing it. We're all kind of chill, and we all just kind of do what we do, really. So, just hoping people enjoy the album. I really do.
Yeah, no, I hope so as well. Is there any advice that you could give to like new or maybe younger artists or bands who are kind of looking to build something like you have done, and I don't know, hold on to whatever it is that drives you to keep making it and keep getting better and better?
Yeah, I think don't compromise with labels, and don't compromise with like prospective managers, and because we've had that before. We've been managed before, and we've had like various record deals and whatnot, and they always try and kick what makes you out of you. I don't know why. It can't be said for all labels, but a lot of people are like, well, that needs to be a little bit more, put some more chorus on that, or that needs to have a bit more discussion. It's not a label or manager's job to start messing with the music. So any young bands, just find a formula that you like. If you're into Jimi Hendrix, then be a singing lead guitarist with a bass player and a live wire drummer. If you're into the Chili Peppers, then check out John Frusciante's rig and get a tube screamer and a wah and just do what you want to do. That's the reason it exists. It's to just kind of melt away into. It's to fall into and forget the how awful life can be. That's music for me. That's why we do it. So for me, it would just be keep on going, believe in yourself, get a good quality demo, make an album and just put it out there and just point people towards it. And if it's good, then it'll snowball and grow and just gain some gravitas. I mean, we started off with 4 monthly listens on Spotify, and now it's 15,000 every month. So someone's listening. We're doing something right for sure. But if I could tell young me again, 20 years ago, I'd just say keep at it, man. Don't stop. Keep doing what you're doing. Believe in yourself. Make the music you want to make, and ultimately you'll find success one way or another.
Amazing. Really nicely put. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about or mention about the band, or you've got coming up or anything like that?
Yeah, I think we've got Liverpool's Prohibition Studios, which is on the 8th of June, which is a massively prestigious show. I think Robert Vincent's just sold it out. I think the Hummingbirds sold it out. I think Ian Prowse did a show there recently. So I think our show's nearly sold out. I think it's. I don't think tickets are on sale yet, but I think word of mouth has said we're playing it. So quite a lot of tickets have gone. So basically, it is a recording studio, but they kind of dress it up with like fairy lights and give it a kind of really kind of cool little festival vibe. So that's an acoustic show, and then people when it's over, people can go away with the recording of the gig, which is super nice. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. And I think we've got the Alsager Music Festival, or Alsager, however you pronounce that, on the 13th of July in Cheshire. So we're on the main stage, so that's pretty massive as well. That's a good thing. And then there's a few other things I forget off the top of my head, but we've got, obviously, the beer is going to be available worldwide, hopefully. We're going to be able to ship it out from
that's amazing.
Like an online store or whatnot. So Alex the alchemist, he runs Society in the Blue Ball Brewery, and it was his idea to give us our own signature beer, Northern Lights, and it's just going really, really well. Like, it's a really great session ale. It's only like 4%, really light, so people are just really enjoying that. So anyone that's local to Runcorn can obviously pop into Society and experience that. But hopefully, I mean, it's been bottled up. We've got some bottles of it, and hopefully that'll be available all over the UK at some point soon.
Yeah, that's cool. Just as summer's peeking its head around the corner as well.
Exactly, perfect. Absolutely perfect for that.
So is the fireflys.com the place to go if anyone wants to find out about your gigs and tickets and stuff like that?
Yeah, fireflys.com, and then there's all the links to the usual suspects like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Nice one. I'll put everything in when I share the podcast as well. I'll share a couple of your songs within. You got any preferences, or are you all right with whatever?
Just the new 3, I think. Grace, Runaway, and This House Is Ours. I'd be grateful for that.
Sure thing. Yeah, no worries. Listen, it's been really nice talking with you. I really appreciate you taking the time. And I love the band. I love your music anyway, which is why I asked you to come on the show.
That's really kind of you. Yeah, your reviews are fantastic. I really appreciate that. It's obviously a two-way street. Thanks for asking me to come on as well.
No worries at all. I will catch you at a live show as soon as I can as well. But thank you very much, and I wish you guys all the best, and hopefully I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Cheers, Lee. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.